able people into the first class, whatever their income. But was there a ladder? And could you climb it without help? Rex Kissack, now retired after a distinguished career in the Methodist ministry, started school at the Collegiate in 1922. His scholarship, means tested, gave him a free place plus a grant for books. His friend and near neighbor Leslie Ellis, now a retired headmaster, was a year behind him on a free place. Both were typical in parental background of the scholarship boys of those days.
I would say the scholarship for me was a gateway I had to get through. The force in my life, which the spur that caused the soul to rise, you know, to spurn delights and live laborious days and so on. In the first place was my mother, and secondly it was Prida, the vice principal of this school. They just said, this is the way you go. And I can't remember much about the questions, but I do remember the times that my mother would bring home books of questions, specimen questions for the scholarship exam, and make me sit down for an hour at night and answer them. Parsing sentences, giving the parts of speech, discovering how many men it would take to fill a tank with water through certain taps, and the time on clocks when the hands coincided and so on. All that kind of thing. But it was quite unreal. But nevertheless, that was the course you had to go to get through that particular gate.
My mother was so keen on me getting the scholarship or the free place that she paid £0.50 a week on a Saturday morning for me to go for special extra tuition into the home of the man who was in charge of the actual scholarship class itself. She was determined that she would do everything possible to make sure that I got to one of the grammar schools, preferably the collegiate school where my two friends had already succeeded in getting.
The tragedy of the scholarship situation was the other side of the coin, the unwillingness of parents to let their children go in for scholarships. They thought they ought to get off and earn money as soon as they could, and not perhaps try to be better than their fathers.
When it came to the crunch, one of the most important factors in getting through a scholarship or a free place was the ambition and push which we got from our parents, either by way of extra lessons, by extra coaching at home, which my friend Rex had just talked about, and it was a tremendous advantage to me.
On the whole, the boys and girls who passed the scholarship in the 20s were fairly advantaged, as Leslie Ellis puts it. Rex and Leslie lived, for example, in these then quite genteel streets in Anfield, and the elementary school they both went to sent a regular supply of scholarship winners to the grammar schools. Some schools, in some areas, never sent any.
Well, I try to think, I was in the 3 Alpha 1, which was the top flight, you see, when I went, and I'm trying to think how many boys I would have said were worse off than me, and I could think of about 5 who really did come from homes of labourers and that sort of thing. I remember one boy seeing my mother, who was a teacher, coming to meet me, said, "Gosh, I wish I had a mother like that." And there was 1 or 2 others that I think would have come from pretty well near Scotland Road. But for the most part, we did come from nice middle-class suburban homes, but not the sons of professional men. They would send those to a public school or to the Liverpool College, which was the top snobby part of this school that had moved off to Lodge Lane.
Rex played for the Collegiate First 15 at rugby. And so in turn did his friend Leslie. Rugby was, for 2 boys from Anfield of all places, a kind of step up in the world. They were mixing in higher circles.
My first pair of rugby shorts were a pair of my old elementary school blue serge trousers. Some of the more affluent boys with more affluent parents were fully equipped with decent football boots, decent shorts, decent stockings.
You entered into a different world, certainly, from the elementary school, and you were very proud and very happy to be in it. The masters were different. They talked differently. Didn't talk Scouse anymore. They talked, Oxford English and that kind of thing. They wore gowns, and they had obviously been very much better educated than anybody who'd ever been on talking terms with before. it was the sort of moving up into an Olympian atmosphere that I felt.
The schoolmasters and mistresses at a grammar school in the 20s and 30s were nearly all graduates, and their salaries of about £400 a year significantly higher than their non-graduate colleagues in elementary schools. But at the collegiate anyway, they showed no favouritism to the better-off fee pairs.
No, oh no, it was entirely a question of academic elite. We won scholarships or free places to the school, and I remember our master once saying to us when he was cross with us, "They call you the cream of Liverpool, but you'll be the whipped cream in the middle if you don't behave yourselves." And I remember the shock of saying, am I really sort of the cream of Liverpool? So we were not conscious of snobbery.
In my mind, there was no distinction. We were unconscious of a distinction between scholarship boys and fee payers, except that, in my case, I felt a little bit better than they were, not financially, but academically, because I had got the free place. I come back to that point.